Hello, everybody. It is Thursday, March 14th in the United States of America. This is What Chaos. My name is David DJ Bean. That is Pete Blackburn, and that is Sean DePaz. A little slow on the uptake there.
I was distracted because when you said David DJ Bean, I thought you were going to hit me with like the Eric Sean pause. And then you didn't, and it threw me off my game a little bit.
Well, a little trickeration on Sean's part, but that's okay because this is a big trickeration day. We got to get to the bottom of a whole lot of things. We got players mouthing off at refs swinging back, the Oilers eliminating the Capitals from the playoffs. Thank God. But let us begin with, oh my goodness, there has been a heist. 17 million Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads have been stolen. Tonight was supposed to be our Jaromir Jagr bobblehead night against the Sharks. They chose the Sharks because it's the only team that Jagr didn't play for. It would have been weird if they did it again. Actually, it wouldn't have been.
It wouldn't have been weird.
They did it against like the Stars, then the Stars could have been like, remember you, old friend.
They do that all the time. They have like those celebration nights, like the Tampa Bay Lightning had the celebration night when Philadelphia Flyers came to town. John Tortorella, coach of the other team.
Did one of Jagr's former teams steal the bobbleheads so they could maybe readjust their plans for this and do it against, say, the Panthers?
Well, I was coming up with a board of notable suspects, like leads that we could have in this case. And the first place that I went to as a good detective was, the other team, the visiting team. Would they have any motivations to jack some Jagr bobbleheads and throw a wrench into the plans for that night? Couldn't really come up with anything for the Sharks.
That was a good
Sharks lightly tied to Jaromir Jagr.
It was a good idea, though. You had the idea to have an idea, which was good.
Yeah.
So that's how we're on the right track. Maybe we can get our insider, Johnny Lazarus, to get on the case. But here's the story. Per Greg Wyshynski, ESPN. Coors Light six-pack. Jaromir Jagr bobblehead night will not have Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads. As the Pittsburgh Penguins announced Thursday, their shipment of the fan giveaways had been stolen. The Penguins receive a voucher that includes a one-time scannable barcode instead to get the bobblehead at a later date. Quote, when the items are safely located or new bobbleheads are produced and available for distribution. The team learned it was the victim of cargo theft after it failed to receive the shipment of bobblehead dolls depicting the NHL legend with his famous salute celebration. Sean does that as well as scheduled before the game. Penguins reached out to both the manufacturer and transportation companies and alerted state and federal authorities working on the stolen cargo. It was determined the theft likely occurred when the shipment arrived in California, according to the team. Quote, we are shocked to be the victim of cargo theft and are working closely with local and federal authorities on the investigation, Penguins president of business operations Kevin Acklin said. While this unfortunate incident adds to the legend of Jaromir Jagr, who will be in attendance as our guest at tonight's game, we look forward to resolving this theft and delivering the prized Jagr bobbleheads to their rightful homes with our fans. The team said there would be no further comment so as to, quote, not hamper with the recovery of the goods. So I like that. What's most important to me is that we've already gotten to the part where there's an ongoing investigation.
The FBI is involved.
We can't say anything. We can't comment. We don't want to accidentally. You know what this needs to be? It needs to be a clean takedown.
Ooh.
These fuckers who did this, and I do think that there's multiple people. I think this was a whole ring, possibly. If they get them, we got to do this by the book. We're not going to let these motherfuckers back on the streets because some hotshot rookie cop wanted to make a name for himself.
Two things. Did notice that they believe that the crime happened in California. You know who plays in California? The San Jose Sharks. So a little close to home, literally, for the Sharks. They could be involved now that we hear some details coming out. Second thing is, walking into the office today, was walking in with Sean, and we were talking about the Jagr heist, and he was like, "Can you imagine going to jail because you did a cargo heist and opened up the doors and found that there were 18,000 Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads?"
Well, that's like a you're in too deep kind of thing. You thought it was going to be a small score, and you were like, "Fuck, how do we what? Fuck, this wasn't the plan." Have you ever seen the movie, the Artemis Hotel? What is it?
Hotel Artemis.
Hotel Artemis. Josh Tillman, aka Father John Misty. Hey, you didn't tell me that like this was the plan. You end up in way over your head. You end up getting shot
and dying in garbage. Literally.
He famously dies in garbage. Is that what you were intimating, Sean? That like, or did you think that it's such a low stakes thing for which to be taken down?
Well, I mean, in the moment, I was saying it was a low stakes thing. Like you probably thought you were going to get something that was incredibly valuable, and then you ended up getting bobbleheads who aren't.
I'll tell you what.
See, I think they were trying to boost cigarettes, and then they were like, "Fuck,
well,
someone's going to be looking for us."
I think, yeah. Like
that's the bigger takeaway. I think when you open the door of the cargo shipment and you're like, "Fuck, this is involving an NHL
Well, yeah,
team."
I think there's probably phases to it. You probably go first thinking like you're boosting cigarettes or something, and you're like, "Fuck, it's bobbleheads or something," and then you look and you're like, "Oh fuck, these are Jaromir Jagr Pittsburgh Penguin bobbleheads. This is a little bigger than that." So I think it's like a roller coaster of emotion. You were disappointed, and then you were pissed off because you were like, I got myself.
I think that maybe it's okay to inconvenience. Did we say this as three professional thieves? Of course. I think if you're inconveniencing a billionaire's lieutenant or otherwise high-ranking employees, that's maybe the safer heists to pull off. If you boost 17,000 Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads, the billionaire themselves is finding out about that and is like, who took my fucking bobbleheads?
That brings me back to my board of plausible leads here. Could be John Henry. Could be an inside job by John Henry. Think about John Henry jacking his own bobbleheads, maybe even an insurance scheme.
I was going to say, those things are insured for hundreds of thousands.
We know that John Henry likes his money.
And
he likes
stripping his fans of fun.
Yeah, he likes to rob his fans of fun. He likes to build his portfolio. So maybe this is an insurance scheme to gain a bunch of money so that he can buy another club.
Or are the Penguins trying to paint themselves as sympathetic figures? Oh, no, what a tough season. It's no longer our fault that we wasted this great season from Sidney Crosby. It's what horrible luck. We can't even get our nice celebration. Look how nice the Blackhawks have it. They're trotting out Cindy Crawford's fine ass.
No chance. Not if you're a smart organization, because you know that everybody's first reaction is going to be, these motherfuckers can't do anything right. Not like nobody feels bad for the Penguins in this situation.
Can you do an impression of John Henry trying to act surprised that this has happened? He has to go in to work. John Henry goes into work and he has to be like, "What happened?" Even though he might be in on it. Could you do an impression of,
"Let's go Red Sox.
Oh no.
Let's go Red Sox.
They took the what? The bobbleheads. Oh no. I'm gonna go rest.
Who is Jagr?
You think that I feel like John Henry says the word rest a bunch.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna rest. I'm gonna go rest.
I'm just resting my eyes.
Okay. Veto. What? I wasn't sleeping. I was resting my hips. I was supposed to have surgery. Sean, see the fucking Sopranos, my guy.
I will eventually. There's just there's so much other stuff I need to watch too.
We did receive a compliment. Sean saying, "I learned German," somebody said, is the funniest thing that has been spoken on this show. Which, disagree. I feel like Pete and I have. I feel like we bring it from time to time. What do we fucking chop liver?
I know.
What am I?
I think it was funny, and
who am I? Carrot?
There was no joke there though. Like it was funny because it was a funny thing, but there was no joke there. Like I have a 2-day streak on Duolingo now. I hammered in more coffee shop and relative stuff last night.
Hell yeah.
So ich bin German.
Also could have been Jaromir Jagr stealing his own bobbleheads and flipping them for profit. I could absolutely see Jaromir Jagr doing that. Money never sleeps. Neither does Jagr.
That's true. It could have been, famously, he slept with a model one time. And
He wasn't sleeping. She was sleeping.
People
he
put
was
out
sleeping.
he was sleeping. And somebody tried to blackmail him over an above board legal fucking adult relationship that he was having. And
no, you caught me having consensual sex with an of age female attractive person.
Right. So Sean, you know this story?
I've heard. I don't know.
There
like,
was a
details,
picture of him in bed with
A
seemingly
model.
very nice person with whom they had just made love, and
Jean Principe.
and
I was gonna say Gene's putting that on magazine covers. Who cares?
right. Yeah, but somebody was, I think this was this person's boyfriend or partner or whatever, and they were like, if you don't give
Alexander
me,
Hamilton action.
they tried to hold this photo ransom, and they tried to extort Jaromir Jagr, and I'm going to butcher the story lightly, but I think paraphrase, this is what happened. They said, you give me X amount of money or this picture gets out there, and Jagr replied, don't care.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
Which is, I say paraphrasing, like if we know Jagr like we think we know Jagr, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he said.
I'm pretty sure it was
Don't care.
It was like 2 or 3 words. Yeah. And
went
why
about
should he
his
care?
day, probably went like skated for a little bit with those fucking yellow laces of his.
Met another nice young lady, probably. Just Jagr's the man. He's just what a legend. Wouldn't put it past him for flipping his own bobbleheads for profit. Obviously, there's the gritty angle. You got to investigate that. There's also an opportunity here, or a chance that somebody within the Penguins just forgot to order the bobbleheads, and they made up this story.
Like they forgot to trade Riley Smith.
True. Yes.
I like that. I like that theory.
That's a good theory, right?
Clumsy.
It's that
Deadline was
somebody fumbled the bobblehead order and was like, shit, they're not going to get in time. So what do we do?
And now there's some port in California that's like, why they say fuck me for?
Exactly. Yeah.
We never got
one time.
anything.
I think it was like a race car or something. The only time that I believe my parents like threw away one of my toys or something, and I was young, but probably still old enough to be smarter than this. I was like, I think somebody stole the race car, and like I was being a bad kid or whatever. Like this was, my parents were like punishing me, and I think they were like, oh, that sucks. And like I just never considered that, like somebody broke in and was like, this place got any race cars? Let's only take that, and then left. So I think the Penguins are doing that of like, fuck, this big like horrible thing fell through, when it's like, really? Or did you just fuck up? Did one person fuck up one thing?
They could have fucked
What's
up.
more likely?
This could also be a diversion, like a diversion for people to not pay attention to how bad the Penguins are right now. It's an opportunity to maybe deflect. Also, I did come up with a theory that maybe they just did this because they are so bad and they're trying to double up on one giveaway, like get people in the building for one giveaway. But it sounds like they're doing a scan the QR code, we'll send you your bobblehead that we owe you, not like come to another game.
I mean, scannable code night. No, give yourself a little more credit. I like this. We'll have scannable code night, and then we'll have like, oops, we ordered more because we thought they were gone forever, but then found them.
Oh,
That's a double dip.
Mm-hmm. That is a double dip.
That is in the bobblehead giveaway business. That's a double dip. I think the Penguins could be up to that, because Lord knows they ain't doing double dips when it comes to points, right? One, if any, they will get each contest.
Chat's pointing out that some of the Jagr bobbleheads are already popping up on eBay, and eBay has taken the listings down.
We should. Well, what can we have our friend Miles, aka Sir Collect-A-Lot, make around this?
Oh,
We should make him make a toy that's 17,000. Just like a cardboard box, and it's 17,000 Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads.
Or just like it's like a Hot Wheels truck, and it has like the Penguins logo on the side, and it's stolen Jagr cargo or something.
we should get Miles on this.
We should. Yeah.
I like the idea. 17,000 Jaromir Jagr.
18,000, I believe.
Is
18,000.
that for spillage or what?
Why is the? Did you see that the?
I'm
attendance-
imagining capacity is somewhere around 17,000.
No, Jagr posted a video to Instagram meeting with somebody within the Penguins, and I think he said 18,000 of them has been stolen. We have the video.
Like you say.
Our plan is successful. Everybody else is stolen. We have the only one. It's for $1 million. There you go.
We got the last one. We got the first one and the last one.
The only one in the world.
Kevin was smart. Kevin was smart. So 18,000 of them, they got stolen, but
Yes.
hey, you got the one.
You got the one. So I'm gonna
Keep it here.
I'm gonna put it back in my safe. Oh, that's good.
That's so good.
Shout out the love of your life hammering us with a super chat, and shout out those gentlemen. I would say playing it a little cool. They move up the suspect list after that.
Yeah, they're way too cool and composed. And Jagr got into that building pretty quickly. I know he was supposed to be there tonight. He was in that office, and they were filming pretty quickly.
I do have to note that yesterday was a big day for QR codes, scannable codes, because Josh Hosang put out a rock album. Not rock album.
It's not rock.
An album of music.
Mhm.
And the cover, he was mostly getting dunked on. And if you don't know Josh Hosang, he was a, early second round or late first round pick of the Islanders?
New York Islanders.
Yeah. And was a highly rated prospect. And
Very highly skilled.
28th overall.
28th overall.
Highly skilled prospect who made some waves, had a lot of hype around him. But famously, probably the thing that Josh Hosang is known most for is for trying to wear the number 66 with the Islanders organization. Everybody made a big stink about it because, you're not allowed to wear Mario's number. He should be retired league-wide. Stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was very pro Josh Hosang there. And I'd have to look up if Josh Hosang ever did anything like bad. I'm pretty sure he didn't. I think the people were like, this kid's kind of annoying. Should we really draft him? To which the answer should always be like, unless he's a bad person, yes, because what you, the crusty hockey person, think is annoying is probably just like a little bit of personality. He put out an album yesterday or whenever. We saw reports of it yesterday. Listened to it this morning. Pretty good. Don't hate it.
Yeah,
There's a song
not
called
terrible.
Curious George Goes to College. I like it a lot. Adding it to playlists.
Yeah.
But give me some of those. So shout out him. But yeah, he was getting dunked on for putting a QR code on the front of an album cover, which like, what? Like the Josh Hosang album cover isn't going to age well now because people are going to know what year it came out? Who cares?
And like, if you're Josh Hosang, you probably need to do everything you can to convince people to listen to your music, to get people there with ease, make it as convenient as possible. I don't hate that move.
Last thing, not the last thing. We'll probably talk about the Jagr heist for the rest of the show. We're rock and roll like that. But the internet basically turned into Sopranos X NHL once this Jagr thing came down. Tons of memes of Chrissy, Pussy, the whole gang talking about boosting things that ended up being 17 or 18,000.
There's always clips of Pussy on Twitter now.
Although I'll tell you what.
Pussy in bio.
I was going to say, are there clips or are there links in bio?
Yeah.
So I was telling you this before the show. My whole For You thing, I famously am not God bless Sydney Sweeney. I am not a spend my entire day talking about how Sydney Sweeney looks pretty. I think we got other stuff we got to do with our day. There's other people we could find attractive. Let's be adults about this. My entire For You feed, as a result, is not a bunch of like Sydney Sweeney photos, but it is for some reason dudes like drooling over Sydney Sweeney. So I don't get pictures of Sydney Sweeney on my For You. I get endearingly idiots being like, I'm going to die because Sydney Sweeney is hot.
That sounds like the worst of the two options, if we're being honest.
Well, it just further reminds me that everybody is drooling over Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, but you don't actually get to see why.
Yeah, well, whatever. There's like 100 pretty people.
100?
Yeah, there's 100 pretty people.
Well, there's 18,000 Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads. So
this is a good question. Are there more people the level of Sydney Sweeney's attractiveness or Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads in the world? I would definitely say more people the level of Sydney Sweeney's attractiveness.
yeah.
But also I'm not like the biggest Sydney Sweeney guy.
No, but I am a Sydney Sweeney guy. I would still say the reasonable percentage thinking puts me towards like more hot people. There are hot people everywhere.
This is
Crazy.
like that. Like this is like if whether or not aliens exist. I think it's statistically improbable that they don't. There's 8 billion people in the world. We know the cap on the Jagr bobbleheads. I think statistically speaking, there has to be more people that you would find as attractive as Sidney Sweeney.
But now we have to consider the fact that there might be 36,000 Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads.
Exactly, because as first reported on our show, they might be doing the old double dip.
Jagr bobbleheads, attractive women, handshake meme, reproducing.
Lord knows how many QR codes there are going to be off this, right?
It's true.
Because who's to say this second shipment doesn't get stolen as well? And for the rest of time, the Penguins are just kicking the can down the road, selling more and more tickets, having like 4 times a year. This is it, for real. You walk in, you show the code, you get Jagr bobbleheads were stolen. Oh, God. Next month.
Here's a free idea for the Pittsburgh Penguins for later this season. If you do find the Pittsburgh Penguins Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads, they should have the second night be like recouped Jagr bobblehead night, and they should come in like evidence bags.
Ooh,
that's a nice little twist.
What should the cash reward be on if you find them? Because I think that this is a pretty high level operation. I'm assuming whoever has these has guns. Lord knows in this silly country of ours, they're easy enough to get.
I don't think you can hijack a cargo load of 18,000 anything without a little bit of firepower.
Without a gun.
Yeah, you have to be a real schemer, or it has to be an inside job.
Let's keep this Sopranos. Give me your bobbleheads, you little prick. And then they take the wallet, and there's like $60 in there. They take the cash, throw the wallet in the face, say, Tony Soprano owes you $60.
I'm very excited for like the oral history or the documentary that comes as a result of this. I'll watch any piece of content that is produced as a result of the Jagr heist.
Can we pick who does this oral history or documentary? No offense to anybody.
Yeah.
But there's only one man for the job.
Who?
It's Greg Wyshynski. This is so up his alley.
Mm-hmm.
He tweeted about it. He was like, God damn it. Why didn't this happen in the Puck Daddy days?
Yeah.
Puck Daddy we would have gotten nothing done for like a week because we would have been keeping up. Like
that's very true.
Like when the whole Manti Te'o thing went down, I remember being like, there's going to be an end to the story at some point. Let me know when it comes, and then I'll learn all the facts.
Definitely not.
I was not up to every second of it.
I was in the weeds.
Yeah, I wasn't in the weeds. I cringed.
That's how I am with Kate Middleton right now.
Oh, you're in the weeds?
No.
Let me know.
I know something's going on. Either she's either dead or she's gonna show back up. Let me know when it happens.
I don't know why, and I don't know at what point it happened, but I was so out on the outside looking in on the Kate Middleton thing, and then like it was impossible to avoid consuming some information on it because it's just everybody on Twitter's talking about it. And at some point, I got roped in, and now I'm in on all the updates on I don't give a shit about the royal family. I don't really give a shit about Kate Middleton. Apologies if she is actually like dead or anything, but like
Francis Ellis over here.
I'm just invested in what the hell is going on because it does seem like there's a lot of shady shit happening.
I love the royal family
drama.
is fascinating to me. I think they're a collection of the most evil people on the planet, and I don't really care what happens to them, but that was why it's very surprising to me that I have no idea what's going on with Kate Middleton because like I watched The Crown and The Crown got me in on the royal drama.
I really like fucked up people and fucked up institutions. Just very fascinating.
Talk to me when these episodes are on The Crown because that's when I'll like Princess Diana. I didn't really like know her story all that much, and then I started watching The Crown. I was like, oh fuck yeah. This is awesome.
It's juicy.
It is. It's so juicy.
You know what's juicy? 100xing your money. You ever fucking do that?
I don't know if I've done that, but I did make some good money last night.
And I bet you were doing it on Prize Picks because
right.
Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy platform in North America, the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. Yeah, I've been skipping that 5 p.m. cup of coffee recently because I say I got Prize Picks coming my way. It's all the excitement. That's all the jolt of energy I need. But that's just me. Talk to your doctor. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling Thousands of other players, with or without bats, including pros and Sharks, couldn't be the Penguins. They're canceling their Sharks game tonight. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. What would you do it with now? I don't know. Probably not the NFL, but maybe basketball, maybe hockey.
Famously, if you did the higher on Draisaitl shots last night, you did it in about 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I know a little somebody.
We'll talk a little bit about that
And
later.
I do mean a little somebody. Little small boy. Love him.
All over Leon Draisaitl in the shots last night. And
Well,
boy, clocked out.
Easy
Clocked
to
out
do.
early.
Pete did it with relative ease, got to bed very early. Good thing he didn't have that 5 p.m. cup of coffee. It's been a good Prize Picks read, so let's wrap it up. Go to prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Huge fan of being in the middle of a read and being like, all right, well, enough of this. Let's wrap this up.
Let's get out of here before this gets off the rails.
And now that I am done talking about this, I would say to go. Now, what I will do is I will call to action. Oh, boy, those Oilers. Oh, those Oilers. What a game. We needed them to kill the Capitals, and they said, boys, can't do it. How about we fucking murder them? So, whoa. Okay. And oi. I'll tell you what, the Blues game with those nice jerseys.
Yeah.
Was a nice little keep it Sopranos, a little antipasti. Is that what antipasto?
Antipasto?
Antipast?
Yeah. Antipast? Antipas.
Sean's like, I'm learning German. I don't know.
Ich
Antipas.
bin Kaffee.
I know what?
I said ich bin Kaffee, which just means I am coffee. Now that I say
dude,
that.
Sean is just hammering coffee specific.
It's literally all
German
I know.
conversation.
I can order beer. I can't even order it. I know how to say the words for coffee, wine, beer, and water.
That might be all you need when we go to Germany.
Okay.
But I don't know how to say, like, I like literally know how to walk up to somebody and be like, beer.
That's good enough.
And they're like, okay.
If somebody came up to me, if I worked at an establishment that sold beer or had beer, and somebody just walked up to me and said beer,
I
would
say
be able to take it from there.
I will say, I feel like German might be the best language to have like a very rudimentary understanding of, because Germans don't fuck around with pleasantries. So like if I walk up and I'm just like Wasser, and they're like, okay, here's water.
Yeah, you just bark orders at
And
them.
there's no time for ich bin Sean. They're like, I don't care about what's your name. What do you want to drink?
Similarly, if you move to the States and you're like, my English is a little rusty, Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
We don't talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that Pete and I discussed for our Oscars episodes, the movie American Fiction, which I love, a guy goes back home to Boston and a coworker asks, like, how's your day going? And he said, like, pretty good. I've been here a half hour, and a guy in a Bruins jersey asked if I thought I was better than him. And that's the only part of the movie that we were like, fuck, no, that
would
you
never
got it
happen.
wrong. A guy in a Bruins jersey walked by you. Didn't say a fucking word because we just don't fucking talk to each other.
Yeah.
But we might be in a position, not to overshare, we might be in a position where we're figuring out like which parts of the global series should we do. If we have to whittle it down, I am so Germany over Prague, mainly because I've already been to Prague.
I'm a little torn though. Like Germany,
Give it
it
to me,
will
bud.
be during Oktoberfest. I want to go to Germany, but you're getting a preseason game and it's only one NHL team.
Yeah.
It's the Sabres versus Red Bull Munich. And no disrespect to Red Bull Munich, but I'd rather see Sabres Devils.
I will
mean-
say though, like maybe it was because the end of the trip, like having done the multi-leg preseason into regular season games thing, the regular season games end up being like the limoncello, you know?
Mhm.
It is a whole ass meal, the whole trip. You're going to like
Yeah, that's what I was
political
gonna say.
events and everything where they're like, we now welcome the world famous Buffalo Sabres.
I want to be
Like, who's
part of
gonna
that.
tell
I
them?
want to be part of that. Though.
I went, no.
Yeah.
So that's all leading up to it. And
It's-
I went to those things with the Bruins where they were like, and now, like fucking like everyone's wearing suits. It's like an event. There's fucking string quartets, and they're
Yeah.
like, and now we welcome world famous Claude Julien, and we're all like, is everyone going to tell these guys that Claude Julien is not world famous?
Well, that's what I was going to say. First off, if I need to start learning Czech, tell me so I'm not wasting time on German. A. B. I feel like the actual game part is like the least in like
the games are gonna rock.
That's what I'm
the
saying.
games are gonna rock, but like in terms of not because of what's happening on the ice. Like we're ultimately not gonna care about who wins between the Sabres and Devils. First off, the one in Germany is opening a new arena, which is awesome, and there's just like way more. I feel like there's gonna be way more fanfare around that than
there
the other
is,
part.
and here's why. When the Bruins played the Belfast Giants and they played HC Liberets, there was so much more excitement from the fans of those teams. Like, so like
that part too.
I'm like a big New England Revolution fan. If I don't know, like Chelsea had a real ass game against the Revolution for some reason, I'd be like, we're all going to this, right?
This is
so
cool
like
as
the
shit.
excitement for like Belfast Giants fans was nuts.
Because the game in Prague is going to be a neutral site game, and obviously people are going to be
Yes.
there because they're like, oh, there's 2 NHL teams here. But like if you go to the one in Munich, it is going to be a Sabres road game.
That's true.
Which would be awesome.
It's you know what it is? It's the New York Rangers going to Mystery Alaska.
Yeah.
And it's just like a whole big thing. And it's an NHL team being in somebody else's environment.
Plus, Prague gets games all the time.
Yeah. And
Relatively.
we learned this with Super Bowl week. A lot of media goes to the Super Bowl. And what that means is they go the Sunday before Super Bowl, get out of there like 2 days before the Super Bowl, don't actually go to the Super Bowl, but they knock out all this stuff and all this fanfare and all this excitement and these different events. I lean that way. We have lots of time to figure it out, but it would be, I won't say it would be funny if you learned German for no reason. I think it would be funnier if you learned German for a reason.
I agree. And also with it being preseason, I think from a content standpoint, it would make our lives would be easier collecting stuff than trying to do it during games that actually mean something.
Here's the thing, though. The Buffalo Sabres, as we noted earlier this week, are on track to make the playoffs. They're barreling towards the playoffs.
They are barreling.
What if
I see where
the
you're going.
Buffalo Sabres are opening the regular season in Prague as the reigning Stanley Cup champions?
Fuck you. That's not going to happen. Fuck off.
Oh, what do you mean? It's very possible that could be happening. Opening as the reigning Stanley Cup champions in Prague with the Stanley Cup in tow, skating it around the Prague arena for fans who just like probably don't know what's going on.
Here's the question. If they are, will my winnings from betting them to win the Eastern Conference even be enough to cover the signed JJ Peterka jersey that I would want to buy for Sean, but it would be so expensive then, right?
Yeah,
it wouldn't be like a $205 thing anymore.
No, you missed your chance to buy low, I think.
I will say, I feel like it is equally possible that they are the Stanley Cup champions and have Macklin Celebrini. Like those two options are equally possible because they're bottom 10 in the league right now. So they still could somehow luck into that lottery.
You know what language Sean also seems to be learning? Is bitch-ass crybaby.
That's what I was going to say.
It's not. No, this is.
I was
speaking
literally,
bitch-ass crybaby
in the process of mouthing the words bitch.
Listen, it's not me being a bitch. It's me not being disillusioned. We've talked about this. I'm a realist. Take the rose-colored glasses off. What reason do I have? It is way more likely that the Sabres, based on literally my entire life, that the Sabres get the first overall pick than it is them doing anything in the playoffs.
Sounds like you're being a little bitch.
Well, can we...
If being real makes me a bitch, then so be it. Then I'm a female dog.
We do got to talk about last night's Oilers game because it did have implications for the Sabres.
It did help the Sabres.
And talk about a dream come true. Getting to root for the Oilers on a national TV stage
for the Sabres' sake.
For the sake of the Buffalo Sabres.
I mean, that's going to be
absolute dream for this podcast.
Getting to root for the Arizona Coyotes for the Buffalo Sabres. That's a dream right there.
That's going to happen tonight as well. It's big things happening for the Sabres, and it's big things happening for the Oilers because last night they stuck with the lines that we had talked about, which is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the first line with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman, giving Leon Draisaitl, Warren Fogle, and Ryan McLeod, and basically being like, Leon, you're going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting, but you're kind of like the 5th best player in the world. You could probably do that. And then loading up the third line. Here's how it worked and how it didn't. It just fucking worked. They scored 1 million fucking goals. There were a lot of power plays early in the game. I was putting the game on This Game Rules watch as Zach Hyman was scoring, I believe, his second goal of the game. Like, you couldn't keep up with the goals in the beginning of that game. Oilers jump out to a 2-0 lead. Stuart Skinner says, you know what? Get ready to speak. I'm not making any saves, buddy. Allows shots on the first 2 goals of the game, but the Oilers keep pounding away. They end up smoking them 7-2. A very, very fun, very, very Oilers-y game that also features Connor Brown scoring his first goal in 100 years. We'll put a pin in that and talk about that for a second. I suppose the big highlight would be Zach Hyman, hat trick, now at 46 goals on the season, and now has the single season goal scoring record for a Jewish human being.
Mazel tov. Hey,
let's go.
Zach Hyman rocks, and the kind of the widespread realization of that from a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people being like merchant, net presence, fraud. Those people are assholes. We don't acknowledge them. Zach Hyman is the fucking best, and I'm glad that it's becoming more widespread. And credit to you, you have been the Zach Hyman like first responder.
It was all because of, this was probably like 2 years ago, we were talking, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but we were just like, what if a fucking free agent contract where a team throws a bunch of money at a player who to this point in his career has not been amazing, and it's just an awesome signing. Kind of looks like this is going to be an awesome signing.
The Oilers got maybe a 55 to 60 goal scorer for $5.5 million on the cap. That is unbelievable.
Amazing.
And so great.
And I feel like people are also just waking up to the fact that Zach Hyman scores goals in front of the net.
Mm-hmm.
We had the graphic that came out yesterday. TNT did their own version of it and confirmed our suspicions, which is, 31 from that area. He's probably got like 5 or 6 more from a couple feet in front, which they did. They had 5 goals from the asshole for him.
I've long been on the for a peek behind the curtain. Every time Zach Hyman scores, DJ sends a message that just says Hyman in all caps in our group chat, and it's usually followed by me saying on the step, Hyman on the step, on the doorstep. But now, since this week's episode that we talked about the asshole, I feel like it has to be Hyman from the asshole.
Hyman from the inside of the body.
Hyman from the asshole.
The goalie swallowed him up, whale style. Do you ever see Pinocchio?
I haven't. What happens?
We had a good Pinocchio breakdown.
Have you ever seen Moby Dick?
What's that?
So you ever seen Moby Dick?
Yeah, Ishmael.
I do have to like figure out what the difference is there, because I definitely got my wires crossed on Moby Dick and Pinocchio.
Honestly, like I know I was speaking with a lot of confidence yesterday. You could be right, and I wouldn't know. Like I have not watched or I haven't read
Chat would
Moby
correct
Dick.
me if I was like
That is
if
true.
I was
That is
making the wrong kind of assumptions.
Anybody late to the show, we have for sure hammered Jagr bobblehead talk. We can get back to it at some point, but we're fucking paying the bills right now. We know where our bread is buttered, and that's with the Edmonton Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
Can't fuck around with toys all day, even though we talked about toys for like 40 minutes.
You mentioned Connor Brown scoring his first goal since 2022. Great moment. Shout out to the Edmonton Oilers fans, because Connor Brown, everybody in that building knew that it was Connor Brown's first goal of the season. He's been widely regarded as like one of the more disappointing players in the NHL this season, because it was like, oh, they started with McDavid. He's going to score a bunch of goals. Only got his first goal last night.
55th game.
But everybody in the building knew it, from the crowd to the bench, and everybody exploded with happiness when he scored his first goal, which, by the way, was Evander Kane just throwing the puck to the front of the net and bouncing off of Connor Brown.
I was waiting for that because I was going to ask, at what point do we say, shout out Evander Kane?
Shout out to Evander Kane.
That was great behavior from Evander Kane. He basically, like, let me think of how I phrased it. I put it in the rundown of basically he donated a goal to Connor Brown. He's like, I can score. That's Connor Brown right there. Let me throw it off him. What a guy. What a gesture from him. I like.
Nice.
No, I. If anybody knows anything about me, if somebody.
It's a business decision by my friend DJ.
No. I like if somebody has either done wrong or had missteps or whatever. I like a not quite redemption story, because people don't like redemption in this crazy world in which we live. But if someone's being an asshole, my goal is they stop being an asshole. And yes, I will be happy if they do some nice positive things that make me tip my cap. Sean is so disagreeing with me.
I am.
Well, Sean hates every person that has ever played for the Buffalo Sabres and no one.
Oh, well,
plays
that
for
has
the
nothing
Buffalo
to do with
Sabres.
why I hate Evander Kane. I just think he's a bad person, and what you do on a hockey rink doesn't change that. But I generally speaking, I'm pro second chances. I just think you are not achieving that second chance with anything you do on a hockey rink. But
Connor Brown really has not been scoring goals, though.
It's
really hard for Connor Brown to score a goal.
Yeah, shout out Connor Brown. Like, that's cool. I was going to say, shout out the Oilers fans, because unlike Bruins fans, they clearly know puck, and I respect that.
The Oilers fans threw their hats on the ice after Connor Brown's first goal of the season, which is incredible in its own right. I love throwing hats on the ice for things that are not hat trick goals, but it became exponentially funnier because like a few minutes after that happened, they stat corrected and changed the Evan Bouchard goal from the first period to a Zach Hyman goal. So Zach Hyman had officially been credited with a hat trick, and most fans had already thrown their hats onto the ice for Connor Brown's first goal of the season.
That's why you got a double hat when you go to an Oilers game. You need to do a Daniel Plainview hat and then whatever Oilers hat you want.
My question is, because I fell asleep after the second period, so I didn't see this. Were there people that threw hats on the ice after they announced the Hyman?
Yes.
goals?
Yes. Yeah. There were scraps.
Not a lot.
Douchebags, in my opinion. Why didn't you throw your hat the first time? Like,
Because it wasn't a hat trick.
But I mean, if everyone's throwing hats,
It's true.
you got to throw it. You got to throw your hat. If everyone's being like, we're doing this for Brown, you got to do it.
That's real choosing sides behavior.
Yes, I agree.
For your own team.
I think
if everybody's starting to throw their hats for Connor Brown's first goal and you don't do it, but then you decide that it's worthy to do it for Zach Hyman, you're choosing sides.
We've been getting a lot of, when you get into Edmonton, talk, chats, whatever. We're working on it, kind of, lightly. Honestly, it's not our biggest priority, but we'd love to do it. It would be incredible. None of us have been to Edmonton. If and when we go, we got to wear hats and then have a little clip-on like backup hat. We got to have like a string of hats on our belts just in case there's multiple opportunities to throw hats.
Start handing them out to people.
Yeah.
If there's a hat
Oh,
trick,
we
that would
should-
be awesome.
We should do like a 47 brand partnership where they give us like 10 hats. We show up to a game either wearing 10 hats or like that strapped to our person, like you just mentioned. And either we do like giveaways at the end of the game, or if there's a hat trick, we're like 6 shooting. We're doing like real quick, making it rain.
The podcast that gives you hats.
Yes.
That'd be amazing. I loved that they were throwing hats for a non-hat trick moment in a hockey game. What other moments would you throw a hat onto the ice when a player has not scored 3 goals?
You're not going to like this one, but when there's a fight and the hometown player kicks the absolute shit out of the other player.
Let's get some hats on there.
Here for it. I mean, famously, the one thing that I do love about Evander Kane was when he had 3 fights in one game for the Buffalo Sabres, won all 3, and then on his way to the box for the 3rd time, he was like counting them down to the crowd.
Yeah.
That should have been hats.
Also,
that would have been perfect.
That's a great call, but the reason why that might be so cool too is that famously, if you get in a fight, you're not going to be playing for a little while. So you got some downtime. You know how players often pick their favorite hat off the ice and they say, I'll keep this one for later. They wear it in the locker room during their post-game interviews. What if they just wore the hat in the penalty box for the next 5 minutes?
Because it's not like they have to worry about coming back onto the ice. Like,
Right.
they won't come back on until there's a stoppage. So that would be money.
That'd be awesome.
I really like wearing the hat in the penalty box. That is a great move. All right, I've got 2 moments that I think would be great for it. One, the anthem was good.
That would be a very Chicago thing to do, like cheer throughout the entire anthem and then just hats on the ice.
Joe, Jim Cornelison just fucking killed it.
Jim Cornelison would have a million hats.
That guy would have.
He would have so many hats.
He would live in just a cave of hats.
For a long time, I didn't really understand the infatuation with the Chicago Blackhawks and Jim Corneliuson's anthem. Thought it was just kind of like, oh, cool, you fucking yelled during the national anthem. Congratulations. Being there in person and experiencing it in person, it rocks.
Everybody's
cool.
standing
It's
up,
the best.
clapping, hooting and hollering.
And the flag was still
Still
there.
there. Tell us
Incredible.
where it was.
Absolute directional king.
Yeah.
Should have been hats thrown when Torts got ejected. Like if a coach is getting ejected, just make the ref's life hell and just start chucking him. Delay the game.
Yes, but that's a fine line though, because that's throwing shit on the ice.
That's
Well, not at the
borderline
refs.
bad behavior.
Not at the refs, but like if you're gonna toss our coach, then we're going to delay the game a little bit.
But when it follows like a negative thing for the home team, it has the stink of fans throwing shit on the ice.
That's fair.
Especially in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the Torts thing specifically would have been special just because he refused to leave. So if it's been like 5 minutes and he's like, finally, he's off the bench, hats would have been fun.
I like throwing the hats on the ice for a good anthem because it immediately holds up the game, which is also funny. Just be like, all right, that was pretty good, guy. All right. And they're like, well, fuck, now puck drop is delayed by 6 minutes. The other one that I really want to do it for, warm-ups. Your guys hit the ice, and you're like, oh, yeah, they're here. And then they have to, like,
it'd be cool for a rookie lap. Like, if rookie's out there by himself and just hats are raining down, that'd be a cool moment.
I think it would be funnier if it was just one person who threw their hat on the ice as soon as the team hit the ice.
This, like, hat guy's like, oh, yeah.
Just one guy in the building who just cannot wait to throw his hat on the ice and does it at the second the team hits the ice.
Like a ceremonial hat that he's got it on, and they're playing like, "Oh, you ready?" or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, am I gonna do it?"
Yeah. Some person with a very elementary understanding of the game of hockey knows that there's a situation in which people throw their hats on the ice and just blows his load immediately for warm-ups.
I mean, this is not even like hats should be thrown for Gordie Howe hat tricks. They don't happen very often, but if you're going to call it a hat trick, then there should be hats thrown.
We should.
You should have to punch the person in the face next to you, take their hat, and throw it on the ice for a Gordie Howe hat trick.
I mean, if you're in Toronto, it might just happen.
They're already getting a head start.
I just like the idea of like a secondary assist being the last thing that happens in a Gordie Howe hat trick, and then you're throwing hats.
Like, you got it?
It's like, you don't. I think that you got that assist. Hats, fuck it.
I also like the idea of the three of us going to a game, just clearly like hat trick hunting, and after like every goal. So like first goal is scored. Let's say it's by Brad Marchand, and we're like, all right, like Bruins goal, cool, he scored. Then every goal the rest of the game, just be like, who is that? Was
Marchand on the ice?
And like we have hats, we have like hat holsters. We just so badly want there to be a hat trick and to fucking fire those things on the ice.
Get like go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just to get like one of those kids like plastic fishing rods that you can get for the thing, and then just tie hats to that and just launch them. Boom! And then you could just reel them back in. Like, oh, too early.
The recyclable hat at in a hockey game is an incredible idea. Throw it on the end of a fish hook and throw it out on the ice, and then pull it back.
Get it
so
back.
You never lose.
Especially, oh my god, the video of like the poor ice person being like trying to pick up the hat, and then you're just like, oh, gotta be quicker than that.
Remember the Geico? Yeah, the Geico commercial where he has the dollar on the fish.
So,
gotta be quicker than that.
We can streamline this. We sit front row on the glass. If there's a hat trick, we throw it over the boards, and it would just look like, all right, there's a hat on the ice, but we have a little string, and as the official is going or as they're going to clean it up, we just pull it back. I do like the idea of there being a fishing rod involved. I think that's very possible.
Like, you just get that, because like the little plastic ones, you could probably like slip that in your pant leg or something like that, and it won't set off any metal detectors.
Oh yeah, and we have ways.
We do have ways.
Yeah.
We could get it in there.
We can be schemers.
Good conversation though.
Yeah.
What do you think, boys?
I love this idea. I really like the idea of being like the Zach Hampel of the NHL, where
for those who don't know,
Zach Hampel is the foul ball guy.
I didn't know who that was.
Major League Baseball, who just goes to games.
Very polarizing.
Very, very polarizing. I don't even think it's polarizing. I think most people hate him. He goes to games and he like picks his ticket based off where they're most likely to get a home run ball or a foul ball. And literally, it seems like he doesn't really care about baseball. He just wants to go to collect as many souvenirs and foul balls and home run balls as possible. And what if we went to games where there was the highest probability of hat tricks? We sat in an area where we would get the most like hat overflow from the balconies or like higher up in the sections.
Yeah.
And instead of throwing them on the ice, we just collected all the hats and everybody hated us.
We could also get there's this technology. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like a little hand, and it's got like this like gooey string on it.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
We could make just maybe bigger ones of those.
The arcade staples, like when you sucked at arcade games and you couldn't really get anything at the ticket redemption counter, you'd always
5 tickets get you that.
You'd always end up with one of those sticky fucking hand things because you didn't want to leave there empty-handed.
Do those. Fell off. It doesn't stick well. We'd have to.
It's like a worse version of the claw.
Yeah, I think we could do like frog tape or something. I think now we're bringing back the fishing rod idea that can get us to collect the hats.
The fishing rod is the best optic. And then, if you do like one of those, like the arcade or like the kid carnival games where they have like the little fishing rods and you collect like the plastic sharks or whatever, and they have like the big plastic hooks on it. Get one of those on the end of a fishing pole, and then you just throw it onto the ice when there's hat tricks, scoop it onto like the band on the back, and you could be collecting hats.
We could also, Pittsburgh Penguins style, have somebody on the inside. So say, hey, when you're cleaning up the hats, you might find a little string and a hook. Why don't you move it over to one of the hats?
No, I want to be like the bad boys of hat trick vulturing.
I like where you're headed there. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I want people to hate us, and I want,
you want there to be discourse about us.
Yeah. I just like I really like the idea of being the people that kind of fuck up the hat trick ceremony and that we try to steal the hats off the ice.
I like this.
You're getting dangerously close to Toronto Maple Leafs territory there now. I mean, you're not taking somebody else's hat because they've already decided they've
already parted ways with it.
Yeah, so it's not nearly as bad, but it is. It's not good behavior.
It's definitely not good behavior.
Tell you what we could do. We could also vulture both hats and social media cred by we steal the hats, we reclaim the hats, steal the hats, and then we take videos of us returning the hats to the people who threw them, and we just go up to little kids who for sure didn't throw that hat, and we're like, hey, think you dropped this, and then people will say, this is what we need more of. Who are like tag these kings?
Yeah.
But we're just really
But
Robin Hooding hats from one person to another.
Here's where we may make ourselves vulnerable or liable.
Get off the Toronto Maple Leafs.
What if some of the hats have lice and we give them to kids?
Now you're getting into some Christopher Columbus territory.
We're the bad guys.
We do not want to be the Christopher Columbus of hockey.
No. And my idea about being like the hat vultures is essentially a victimless crime because the people have already decided of their own willingness to part ways with their hats. And honestly, we might be doing the ice crew a favor. It's less hats to clean up. So like they're cleaning up those hats anyway. We don't know where they're going. So we may as well like reach into the pool, scoop up some hats, and take them for our own benefit.
The only thing you really
know they'll be with a good home. Maybe they'll be on display here at the studio. Maybe we'll wear them ourselves. We know what their second life will be.
Go ahead, Sean.
No, the only thing you're really hurting is the picture in the locker room afterwards with all the hats.
That's true.
Because then you're going to be like, Zach Hyman's going to be like, damn, they really no love for the boy. They didn't have that many hats.
Sometimes I feel like though a lot of teams are moving away from like the garbage bag pics of like all the hats.
Fair.
And instead they just have a player pick his favorite hat and then they take a picture of him wearing that after the hat trick. So I think they'll be okay.
Okay, so the Oilers won that game. Let's do a little Sabres playoff watch because that did help.
We have to mention Stuart Skinner absolutely hates Alexander Ovechkin's guts.
Oh, he killed him twice.
After letting in like the worst goal ever to begin the game. Like that first goal he let in was very bad. And then he was just like,
but his first save was the best save you ever seen in your life.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Dives across the crease to rob Alexander Ovechkin point blank and doesn't give up a rebound.
I do put, and that was an incredible save, but I put Alexander Ovechkin on the smallest asshole watch for that.
For shooting it kind of directly.
Why did you shoot it at the goalie? Like, as long as Skinner was able to recover, he wouldn't hold on to it. Like, it was an incredible save that Skinner made, but like, that was a very easy play on which to score. And you kind of helped him out there, Alex. So not great behavior from him. Sabres playoff watch. They are now 5 points out of a playoff spot. Yeah, they played 2 more games, but mind your business. 3 teams in front of them. The Islanders, the Red Wings, the Capitals. They're also tied with the Devils and Penguins in win percentage, but we're not worried about them. Those guys stink. The Devils play the Stars tonight. Penguins play the Sharks, as we've discussed. But most importantly, the Sabres play the Islanders tonight. That is a huge, huge, huge game. and the Red Wings play the Coyotes. So a night after being Oilmen for the Sabres, we get to be Coyotes boys for the Sabres.
That is significantly less exciting in my mind.
And it's more likely to not deliver.
Bad
And
result.
then
Yeah.
disappointment. Yeah. But if they do deliver, it will feel way better.
That's true. Like
if we somehow get the Arizona Coyotes to win when it matters most,
if the Coyotes win when the lights are on and lights are bright, and then I think we start moving into, wow, the Sabres could really do this territory because they're getting all the breaks.
yeah, I mean, this would be prime Arizona Coyotes win, like a game they have no business winning. That doesn't mean anything for them, but has massive implications elsewhere. Like that, they might win.
This week has given us some mic'd up magic, and it is spelled M-I-K-E-D. A lot of places do M-I-C''D. It's wrong behavior. I know it's universally accepted now, but that's just not how it's spelled. It's M-I-K-E-D. Mic'd up magic. We saw last night the ref told Quinn Hughes to basically Jake to brush his teeth and like get out of here. Quinn Hughes on his way to the box said, "But I don't want to," and the official said this. No, official, we don't have the sound. He said, "Get in the box. Go to the box.
Go to the box
Now,
please."
please."
Yeah.
Now, please is so disrespectful. It is so you are a child.
It is, but also, you know what else is disrespectful? Saying like, "Shut the fuck up, get in the box."
These Hughes boys, man. These Hughes boys.
They're the Yap Kings.
There's a little something to them.
We talked about the word yap and its cultural impact these days. And yapping is largely derogatory, I would say. I think that the Hughes brothers are establishing themselves as the Yap Kings of the NHL.
Like, you know what? Maybe they should have fallen to 28th overall like Josh Hosang and not Josh Hosang.
I like, but to that point, like we said earlier in the season, or at least I said earlier in the season, I wanted at least one of the Hughes brothers to establish himself as an asshole.
I think that they're piss masters.
They're
Whenever they're
definitely
mic'd
pissed.
up, they're a little upset about something.
They're a little pissy.
And I mean, last
But
night,
I want them to be.
Last night, Quinn Hughes had probably just learned that his brother Jack had his record broken by Zach Hyman, was probably already in a foul mood, goes out there, starts taking penalties. The official says, "Get in the box, please." And he said, "You know what? That's great. That's just what I need today. You know what?" And the official was like, "I don't have time for this. This is bad behavior. Everyone's seeing it." But that's not my favorite mic'd up moment of this week. Do we have Connor Bedard? Here is Connor Bedard Tuesday against the Ducks.
Like get out of the way a little bit.
Which side?
Either, just like if we
All right.
curl up, you know,
Okay.
like there's twice.
Yeah, I'm
that I
trying
kinda
my best to
lost
stay
the
out of my way.
Yeah,
You guys are fast and I'm slow.
Yeah. You guys be like get out of the way a little bit.
Which side?
Either, just like if we
All right.
curl up, you know,
Okay.
like there's twice.
Yeah, I'm
that I
trying
kinda
my
lost
best to
the
stay
puck.
out of my way.
Yeah,
You guys are fast and I'm slow.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of things I like about that. Mainly classic Connor Bedard that the official makes a little chummy. And he was like, "Sorry, just you guys are so fast and I'm slow." Bedard's like, "I'm not joking around here." Like, cool, whatever. I also like that Frank Vetrano, because whenever a player is talking to the ref, a player from the other team has to come over and say, "Am I missing something? What are you gals talking about?" And it was Frank Vetrano.
Who did the Ducks have a captain? Is there a captain of
I'll
the
research.
Anaheim Ducks right now?
It wouldn't have been Henrique. I don't know who it would be.
Yeah, I can't even think of who. Maybe Cam Fowler.
There are 4 NHL teams without a captain. One of them is the Anaheim Ducks.
No.
That
Ducks
is a tough scene for Cam Fowler because he's been there 100 years.
I mean, if anybody would be captain of the Anaheim Ducks, it would be Cam Fowler.
That is the most "you are not captain" material.
That is,
Thing
you
in
are
the world.
only here because your contract prohibits us from getting rid of you kind of behavior.
I'm a Cam Fowler guy.
I would be so excited if Frank Vetrano happened to be named captain of the Anaheim Ducks. That was essentially captain behavior, where he sees the other team talking to the ref, and he's like, "I should be over here and involved in this conversation."
That's good behavior from Frank Vetrano.
Captain behavior.
It's a very mature move from him, and why wouldn't he show some maturity? Because today Frank Vetrano turns 30.
Hey, happy birthday to the
30-year-old
man!
boy.
Happy birthday
Drafted
to our
first
favorite
overall.
Italian boy.
Yeah, drafted first overall by the 30 and over club. How about that?
R.I.P. to Frank Vetrano dominating 30 under 30 lists, though.
Yeah. He was, which stinks because I feel like people could have used a lot of breakout star talk with him this year, even though we always knew that he was a star. Let's get a C on that jersey. I like where your head is there.
But I do like that every time Connor Bedard has a conversation with anybody on the ice, it's him talking about how slow they are and how they need to get out of his way.
I like the move of like, hey, okay, which side, where would you like me to go? And he's like, I'm going to take up the whole ice, brother. So you just got to keep your head on a swivel. Get the fuck out of my way.
That really was what it was. There was no like, I'm going to help you get out of my way. This was, you need to figure out how to get the fuck out of my way.
Yes. He was like, you just got to know I'm coming.
It was Connor Bedard literally telling the official, hey, do your job and do it better.
Because I've seen clips of refs mic'd up where they're like, they've talked to players and they're like, where do you kind of want me type of thing? Like if you're going to be fighting in the corner, where do you kind of want me to be? Or this is where I'm going to be. There was none of that in this. It was just, I'm coming. Figure it out.
While we're on a little bit of age discourse, I did want to say Evan Bouchard being only 24 years old is stunning because he has looked 40 for the last 5 years. He has the most old man face, and it is crazy that he's only 24.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I know that he's a young guy because I remember like being on board with the Oilers drafting him, waiting for him to come up, waiting for him to make his impact. I understand that he's a young person, but when he's out on the ice, if you showed somebody who doesn't know Evan Bouchard and you were like, how old is this guy? They would say no younger than 35 to 40.
No, I mean, he looks old. I mean, he gets his face cut up. Famously, Gene called him Evan Boo-Boo-Shard.
Yeah.
Because he had a boo-boo on his face.
Bar.
I fucking love this player. Been on him all year.
He's a perfect Oiler.
He is just fucking power play quarterback on a team that doesn't need a power play quarterback. They're like, we could put anybody there, and they have all the skills in the world to do this job. Just got a great shot. I'm crazy about him. Some late breaking news from the chat that I saw. Apparently, Frank Vetrano said on a podcast recently with some of our friends that he cheated on the ACTs.
Oh.
It's not good behavior. I don't care about it, but
No, that's good behavior.
That's good.
That's good behavior. That's like stealing from the royal family, in my opinion.
I could see you
The
being
institution
a
is
fuck
fucked.
standardized.
Yeah, the
test.
Fuck standardized testing.
And
I like that take.
Like
You probably did well on
I did
standardized
very
tests.
well. I did very well on the SAT, but it doesn't mean anything.
Do you remember the movie with Darius Miles in which they cheat on the SATs? I believe it's called The Perfect Score.
Oh,
I mean, you ever
Darius
watch?
Miles, in the middle of his NBA career, I think he was playing for the Portland Trail Blazers at the time, just got cast in a movie about stealing the SATs.
I love stuff like that. I love when athletes are like, I'm just going to act for a little bit. I mean, have you watched Shameless? That's like,
No.
Oh yeah.
That's
No,
Jeremy
so
Allen
I like how Lip does it. Lip
Yeah.
just fucking takes the
he
SATs
takes the SAT
for
for
other
people and gets paid for it because he's a genius.
You may have heard of this guy. He's played by Jeremy Allen White.
I do know that.
Yeah. And he's very brilliant and he has sex with everybody. And they're like this genius from Chicago. What an
I should watch Shameless. I heard it's pretty
What's
good.
tough though is you don't know when to stop because it gets so bad.
That I believe I kind of fell out of it. I have very short attention span, so I'll start a lot of series and then never finish them, which is part of why I don't watch things like Sopranos and Game of Thrones because I know I'm never going to finish it. But
Well, you don't have to finish Game of Thrones. You can skip the last season.
fair enough.
Dude, once veto stuff starts happening in The Sopranos, you're like, how can a show be this good?
Yeah, like The Sopranos never gets bad. It's when you can tell that it's wrapping up towards the end.
Yeah.
But it's never getting bad. You can tell that it's wrapping up.
That's what I mean with like the veto
because
stuff.
like
of,
the storylines are wrapping
like
up.
shit's going to come to a head.
Yeah.
I have millions of like same thing with Breaking Bad. Started it multiple times, never finished
Whoa!
it. Yeah, I know.
Damn.
Breaking Bad is
I know.
a fucking race to the finish. Although like season 4-ish, the Super Lab does go maybe like 5 episodes too long. Or like let's say 2-3
There
episodes too long.
are some slower points for Breaking Bad.
Wow.
Also did it to Lost, and then I ended up hearing that it's like the worst ending of any TV
I got
show
out
ever.
on Lost.
So I'm glad it happened.
I was able to get out on Lost. So shout out Frank Vetrano. Happy birthday.
Happy Born Day, as the Ducks put out on their graphic, which I found
Interesting.
but like go off, I guess. Seems
Yeah.
very Californian of you.
We've got 12 games tonight, so let's do a slate grade presented by Game Time. It's 7 p.m. U.S. You have the Bruins at the Canadians. Which, before I continue, how fucking sad is it that the Bruins are playing the Canadiens tonight, and I don't give one...
Cut my penis!
I don't give one penis about that. How sad is that?
Not one cut penis. I don't. It's. I'll always be interested. I think that there has been a little bit of a spark in that rivalry, just in like the last year or two. It needs more. It definitely needs more. The Canadiens need to stop being such pieces of shit, get their act together, and be relevant in today's landscape. We've talked about they're probably the least interesting team in the NHL this year, but
I feel like we've said that about 3 to 4 teams in the NHL because we definitely said it about.
TJ made a good point about the Canadiens being like we never talk about them.
We definitely
they're
have
the Canadiens.
I mean that part is fair, but we've said the exact same thing about the Wild and their.
No, but the Wild are for sure more.
The Wild fired their coach this year.
That's fair. I mean, yeah,
shit has happened with them.
You know what the Canadiens are right now? They're like as a hockey fan, I want to say to the Canadiens, like the thing when the parent says to the kid who's being an asshole, like, don't do it for yourself. You're killing your mother with this behavior. Like, don't do Canadiens. I don't give a fuck if you do it for yourself. If you want to have bad behavior or if you want to stink and be boring, but you're hurting other people because, like it or not, you're important to a lot of us.
It's how I mean, it's how I feel about the Senators. I want them to be good. I want them to be good at the same time as the Sabres are good. But like, I like when teams I care about are good and their rivals are also like it's baseball. Baseball's better when the Red Sox and Yankees are both good.
Correct.
Even though I would rather the Yankees not exist. It's awesome when they're good, when they exist and they're good.
No, it doesn't count. Like when the Red Sox fucking made deep runs and the Yankees kind of stunk, you're like,
but when Brock Holt hit the first cycle in playoff history against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium,
game changer,
that's one of the best memories of my life.
It's better to be embarrassing than it is irrelevant. And like the Wild and some of the other teams that we've talked about have been embarrassing. Like we've had to talk about the Coyotes a lot because they've been embarrassing. They've at least stayed in the discourse, and you don't want to be embarrassing, but at least people are talking about you. You're worth paying attention to.
You're consistently putting that 6 man on the ice.
That's correct.
Get him out there.
The Canadiens have been just irrelevant.
So
it is sad.
That is a bummer for me. 7 p.m. U.S. Islanders at Sabres. That's a big one. 7 p.m. Coyotes at Red Wings. That's a big one.
Christian Fisher revenge game.
7 p.m.
Shane Gostisbehere revenge game.
Yep. 7 p.m. U.S. Rangers at Lightning. 7 p.m. U.S. Sharks at Penguins. Get your phones ready to scan some unique barcodes. 7 p.m. U.S. Panthers at Hurricanes. 7 p.m. U.S. Senators at Blue Jackets. 7:30 p.m. U.S. Maple Leafs at Flyers. 8 p.m. U.S. Devils at Stars. That's relevant to our interests. 8 p.m. U.S. Ducks at Wild. 9 p.m. U.S. Golden Knights at Flames. 10 p.m. U.S. Capitals at Kraken. Okay, so that is 12 games. And structure-wise, let me tell you, at 7 p.m., you have I'll even say 3 games that I really care about. I care about Islanders at Sabres. I care about Coyotes at Red Wings. To a degree, I care about Sharks at Penguins. But realistically, the Penguins aren't going to make any sort of run. I ain't afraid of no Penguins. This was really cruising towards a very, very high score. But after 7 p.m., which has 7 at 7.
Too many games at 7 o'clock.
Agreed.
7 games at 7, 3 of which are interesting. After that,
you said 3 of which are interesting. 3 of which are interesting for playoff implications. There are a couple good, really
Panthers,
good games
Hurricanes
mixed in there as well. Panthers at Hurricanes and Rangers
at
Lightning.
Lightning can be good. Yeah, there's Rangers at Lightning. You're getting 2 playoff teams.
It's a good 7 o'clock slate.
It's a very strong, let's say overpowering 7 o'clock
front
slate.
heavy.
After that, the remaining 4 games. I'm sorry, 5. Leafs at Flyers.
Get off the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Don't really care too much about that. Devils at Stars. I'll keep an eye on that just because it's always good to watch the Stars.
Also,
a little bit.
I know that the Devils suck, but they are still very much right there with the Buffalo Sabres.
No, they're not.
They are. They know them and the Penguins are tied with the Sabres.
They don't scare me, but we can't have them getting hot. We can't have them winning hockey games.
We can't talk about the Sabres making a run if we don't at least consider the teams that are literally tied with them. The Penguins and the Devils both have a 508 winning percentage, which is the same as points percentage, which is the same as the Sabres. So Devils at Stars, Ducks at Wild, don't really care about that. Knights at Flames, Noah Hannafin revenge game, I suppose. Capitals at Kraken. This really was cruising towards a high score. I'm going to give it, after a strong start, an A-.
I think that's fair. It's just too front loaded.
I'll say this: I'll be sick if the Washington Capitals somehow manage to win the second game of a back-to-back right now. That would be very upsetting.
Oh,
So crack on, baby.
I thought you said it would be sick, and I was
No,
I don't
very
know
upsetting. Crack
why
on.
you think
Oh,
that.
right. I forgot. Yeah, Capitals at Kraken also plays in. I mean,
On
I
a West Coast road trip too. Like if they somehow manage to win that game, I'll be so sick.
I'm not worried about the Capitals. I know that they're in the mix. I'm not worried about
And
them.
I meant to
Again, I'm
say
not
it.
worried about them either. But
If ever there were proof to my point yesterday of what food the Capitals would be if they made the playoffs.
Oh my
Granted, I know they were
God.
playing like the second or third best team in the NHL last night, but does that team not strike you as a team that will die like a dog?
Oh my
yeah,
God!
I
Like,
mean, yeah.
you like the Connor McDavid goal. Connor McDavid had 2 shots in the game, and the first one they literally begged him to take a shot
It
on the
was
power play.
crazy.
They parted the Red Sea down the middle for Connor McDavid, and they just kept backing up to give him more space. He
This
was
is
like,
going to
"Fuck
sound-
you,
Because they
all
were
right, I'll
so
shoot
worried
it."
about the pass.
This is going to sound crazy. I kind of don't hate them so much for that because this was on the power play, and on the previous Oilers
Yeah,
power
exactly.
play, they kept going backdoor to Leon Draisaitl
4
and
times on the
shout
same
out Biz,
sequence.
who is like, Darcy Kemper is screaming this entire, like he has to be like, is anybody going to pick up the backdoor shot? Who happens to be fucking Leon Draisaitl? Like,
And-
let them beat us any other way. We're going to fucking get scored up, and we got scored on here. So the next Oilers power play, they were like, we kind of suck. We will at least guarantee ourselves. And if you look, like there are 2 bodies in that passing lane, which you got 4 guys on the ice. You can't put 2 guys in one passing lane. You got to try to make up for other spaces. But they said, at the very least, Darcy, you will not be scored on by Connor McDavid scored.
That's fair.
It wasn't good behavior, but it was explainable behavior.
It was explainable. There is a layer of irony to the Washington Capitals being the team that can't recognize a guy is just standing at the dot waiting for a one-timer over and over and over again on the power play and then getting beat by it.
But Draisaitl is so good. God.
I had a parlay last night with Oilers 60-minute money line. Zach Hyman goal obviously was going to hit those 2, and then Leon Draisaitl 4+ shots as well. That cashed. Obviously, you had to wait for the Oilers to win the game in regulation, but that bet cashed the fastest you will ever see a 3-leg parlay cash.
Yeah. Did you? I've had a couple of those. Probably not as fast as that, but like that's what's fun about the Oilers parlays.
It's like if they're doing it, they're going to do it in 5 minutes.
You are not typically like last night. I guess at the end, I was like, if Ryan Nugent-Hopkins gets me a goal, that this cashes. But ultimately, I'm so happy the Oilers are kicking the shit out of the Capitals that I don't really care. But yeah, typically, you know a lot about your Oilers parlays in like the first 10 minutes of the game.
Oh yeah.
Were you worried at all? I was texting with other friends about it that once the Oilers went up 2-0, I was like, yeah, thanks for coming out. This is over. This game is so over. And then obviously the Capitals quickly scored 2 goals. I still, even as an Oilers guy, knowing what the Oilers do, I was like, this game is very over, even though it's tied at 2.
I mean, it was only tied at 2 for like 14 seconds because Zach Hyman scored immediately after the Capitals tied it up. So if you were sweating that, if you were worried, that didn't last very long.
We're such oil men. Oh,
That's right.
What a big weekend we have coming up. Very, very exciting stuff.
One last note for
You forgot to like
housekeeping. Huh?
Forgot to like.
Oh, we did forget to like Spike. We can do that after this. But the Chaos Chain, there's an update. Our pal Deej now holding the Chaos Chain because the Colorado Avalanche came back from 3-0 against the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks might be on fraud watch.
They might be, and I've been looking. The Oilers might be on President's Trophy watch.
That would be incredible. That would be. I don't want it for them because I want to see them go deep in the playoffs, but that would be insane.
I mean, what?
No.
They need 10 points. Easy peasy If we're getting the Sabres in there, we're getting the Oilers in
But
there.
Colorado and Dallas are right
in
behind
all
there.
seriousness, they're
all
not.
3 teams in the Central Division have more points than the
And they're not catching the Panthers have 94 points. So
Yeah,
I was
no,
kidding.
okay.
But
I was
they
like-
are on Pacific Division winner watch. They are. Let's see. They
Got
are
3 games in hand on the Canucks.
9 points behind the Canucks, but they have 3 games in hand. That's 6 points right there out the door.
I don't want them to win the Pacific Division though, because I want them to have a tough first round playoff matchup. I think
If they win the Pacific Division, they might end up playing the Golden Knights in the first
I was
round.
going to say, yeah.
In
Golden
which
Knights
case,
would be tougher than
out the
Kings.
window goes old Deej.
That's also a pretty good point. But like, if they get Oilers Kings in the first round, would be a great way for the Oilers to kind of like get their feet wet
Yes.
and hit the ground running in the playoffs.
I completely agree with you, Peter. We are for sure rooting for Oilers Kings first round. That is the only thing that can at least have me live through the first round, because some of these series, even if the Oilers get out of them, I probably don't make it out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just be dead in a big bed of Chex Mix.
The good news is that the Oilers are probably going to have a tough first round opponent no matter what, unless they draw the Nashville Predators, who, by the way, the Nashville Predators, real hot lately.
Staying very, very hot.
8-0-2 in their last 10. They are cruising. So shout out to Nashville. We don't talk about them a lot, but Andrew Brunette has them buzzing. Been much better in the second half. I bet Devils fans, they're not triggered at all by that.
No. How could they be?
But Chaos Chain, you hold the Avalanche. The Avalanche now hold the Chaos Chain because they beat the Vancouver Canucks. You don't have the Canucks, but you are guaranteed to hold the Chaos Chain for a little bit because the Avalanche's next game is Saturday against the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton. And you also have the Oilers. So bit of the same situation that Sean had last week.
Feels good, Sean. I like this.
You know you're coming away with it one way or another into next week.
Although it is a unique kind of disappointment when you don't, like, nothing happens, because like that is what happened to me. Nothing happened, and then I lost the chain immediately.
Yeah, you didn't acquire any teams, and then you lost the chain.
I postponed the inevitable.
Before we get out of here, we need a like spike. So anybody who's in the chat watching this video right now on YouTube, there is a thumbs up right below your player. If you hit that button, you give us a like. And that's what we need. We need to spike those likes before we get out of here. So 3, 2, 1, like spike, grab the like and spike it. Thank you very much. I don't know how it helps us, but it does.
And if you're not subscribed on YouTube, please. I know how it helps us. I don't really, but it legitimizes us. When you see these videos and it says, what chaos? 300,000 subscribers, you say, those boys are legit. Let's see what kind of talk they have. They're throwing hats on the ice.
It not only legitimizes us from just on paper, I believe I've been told that YouTube's algorithm rewards channels with more visibility. Like, obviously, you get more visibility if you have more followers because you just have more people with eyes on your shit. But YouTube also funnels more people to you if your channel has a lot of subscribers. That's what I've been told. So please help us spike our numbers. If you're in here and you're not subscribed, hit that button, subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciated it. We're at 4.88 thousand subscribers on YouTube. We really want to hit that 5K mark soon. So please help us do that.
All right. We will be back next week. Got some exciting stuff coming. Can't wait to share it with you. Have a wonderful weekend. Up the Birds. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.